a clause that allows a mortgage added at a later date to take priority over an existing mortgage. Is that a release clause, an acceleration clause, a subordination clause, or an open-end clause? What do you guys think? I'm letting this one come in after the fact, and he's going to move ahead in lien position. Remember this one, guys?
Hey, we got an A and we got a D. We have a C. Do we have a B? We got an A, a D, and a C. Do we get a B?
Whoever said C is the correct answer. C is the correct answer. It's the subordination clause. I always say, think of it like if you're my boss at work and I'm your subordinate, I'm underneath you, I'm working under you, right? The second lien position would be in a subordinate position. Then they can bounce to the front. Exactly.
So before you go to the next one, though, let's make sure they know what the other clauses are, because we had a lot of different answers there. So, release clause.
Oh, me?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to let you do it because it was your question.
The release clause. That's unlike me. The release clause, when we're allowing somebody to release a lien or releasing a mortgage, and it also says, like, I think also when I think of release clause, kind of like defeasance clause, like once I've got it paid off, they have to release the lien on the property. Acceleration clause is I'm speeding up the loan. Like if I had 20 years left to pay on the loan and I messed things up and I broke the rules and the bank says, the heck with you, we're calling this all due now. We're accelerating it. They're not accelerating it because they think we really have all the money right now if we're behind in the first place. They're accelerating it so they can hurry up and foreclose on us and sue us for the entire amount rather than dilly-dallying around. Open-end clause, I mean, I think that's more like an open-end mortgage. An open-end mortgage would be like a home equity line where we can continue to borrow from it, like pay on it, borrow the money again, pay on it, borrow the money again. A home equity line is a good example of that, or HELOC.
Okay. An easement granted after someone has used or entered land for a long time and is given a legal right to continue to do so. Is it an easement by prescription, a voluntary easement, an appurtenant easement, or an easement by law? What say you? Oh, the A's are coming in fast and furious. A, easement by prescription. Do we have it? Yes, of course we have the easement by prescription. It's like when you get a prescription from the pharmacist, they tell you how long you need to take it and all those other rules in order to make it work. Well, easement by prescription is about how long you used it and you follow these rules. So now they're going to make that easement official.
And I also like how they say open, notorious, hostile, and continuous.
I always teach it as high ocean, but
hostile.
I like the word hostile. I would let the high ocean go, but I like the word hostile.
Liens that apply to all of the owner's property in the county of recording. It's everything in the whole kit and caboodle. Is it property taxes, mechanics liens, specific liens, or general liens? What do you guys think? Property taxes, mechanics liens, specific liens, or general liens? Yes, general liens. General liens. So, a federal income tax lien is a good example of a general lien. The IRS is gonna come after me and take whatever I've got. A specific lien. You guys give me an example of I just gave you one of a general lien. Judgment lien's a good one, Sanita, for a general lien. What about specific lien? What's an example of a specific lien? Anybody think of one there? Mortgage. Yeah, that's a great one. Mechanics lien is a specifics lien. Yeah, somebody asked a question. Hang on. What was it?
Jesseline asked if we could explain the difference between a variance and a nonconforming use. So here's the difference. In a nonconforming use, even though it's not the politically correct term, think of something being grandfathered in. The use was legal, the rules changed, and they're going to continue to let that use go and be legal, just that one property doing that one weird use, because they changed the rules. You were following the rules. It's not your fault they changed them. That is a nonconforming use. It was grandfathered in versus a variance. A variance is when there is a set of rules and all of a sudden there's something going on with your situation where that rule is causing you a hardship. Now, I say all of a sudden, but it could be for different reasons. But like for setbacks, maybe they've changed the setbacks or not even changed. There's setbacks and you don't have that much land. I always think of what if there's rules about whether or not you can have a certain amount of cement or, poured just what we call impervious surface. and then you're in an accident, you're in a wheelchair, they can't not let you put in ramps that you can get to your house. You would ask for a variance. You would say, hey, your rule is causing me a hardship, and you should allow me to do something different. So think variance, you have to prove a hardship. Non-conforming use, you are grandfathered in. So there you go. Next one, an exception. Exactly. Would property tax be a specific lien? Yes. Real property taxes are a specific lien. So here we go. A contract which may be either affirmed or rejected at the option of one of the parties. Is it impounded, exemplary, voidable, or void? Oh, here it comes. See. All of these people telling us it is voidable. I love the fact that you all knew it was voidable. However, when I finish this next round of videos, that's what I'm making a video on. Void, voidable, valid, enforceable, because how many times do we get asked that question?
Oh my
How many
gosh.
times? I mean, so many. So I'm just going to make a video about it, Kandyce style. So there you go. Oh, Jesleen said a lot. And not only do we get asked that question a lot, but you all are asked that question a lot on practice exams, which means you need to make sure you know it. Your turn, ma'am.
Hang on one second. You go ahead and do this one because
Okay,
April's
sure.
having getting in. I'm trying to get over the
Oh,
link.
no, you're fine. When a licensee exaggerates the benefits or features of a property, basically pretends like they are online dating. Mhm. When an licensee exaggerates the benefits or features of a property, is it steering, conversion, commingling, or puffing, or online dating? What say you? Okay, it is right, Sonny. LOL, online dating. Yeah, huh? I'm getting lots of D's. Maria, go ahead, tell them that it is D, and I'll do the next one. I see you doing whatever you're doing over there.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
I
I
got it.
got you. Go ahead.
All right. When the vendor becomes the lessee, is that a sale leaseback, a quiet title action, a writ of execution, or a tax deferred exchange? When the vendor becomes the lessee. And I think we did that this morning if we ever got there. I can't remember, but remember like what I was saying, Candace, was a lot of times I think of vendor as the seller in a land contract. It's usually when we use the term vendor vendee, but it can all mean any seller. So you guys are right. This is the sale leaseback. Exactly. All right, Candace, here's yours.
All right. A way of estimating the value of a property by looking at the sales of comparable property. Is it the cost or replacement approach, a gross rent multiplier, the market data or comparison approach, or the income approach? Y'all already know C. So,
All right, a contract where the owner agrees to sell the property only through the listing broker. The listing broker does not need to prove that he is the procuring cause of the buyer. He does not need to prove it. Exclusive authorization and right to sell listing, exclusive agency listing, net listing, or open listing. What do you guys think?
good question.
Exclusive right to sell. Remember, exclusive agency would also be one where the listing broker would get paid if it's sold. However, in an exclusive agency, we have the loophole that if the seller finds their own buyer, they don't have to pay our commission, right? Other than that, they're kind of the same. Exclusive right to sell and exclusive agency. The exclusive agency, though, lets them have the loophole that they don't have to pay me if they find their own buyer.
So, one person makes a promise in exchange for a promise from a second person. One person makes a promise in exchange for a promise from a second person. Is it A, a voidable contract, B, a bilateral contract, C, a void contract, or D, a unilateral contract? So, everybody is pretty much coming in B. Yes, it is bilateral. Bi means two, uni means one. So, one person makes a promise and the other person makes a promises, which makes two promises. I feel like you do granddad magic. Two
Well,
promises.
also, the unilateral contract examples are open listing,
Mhm.
right? And option.
I always think of yes and rewards. I don't know
Yeah.
why I think people always just remember when you could possibly get money, a reward, but an option contract most definitely.
Yeah. For
Your
sure.
turn.
Those things which enhance the enjoyment and therefore the value of real estate, but are not necessary for its intended use. Examples are a scenic view, a swimming pool, etc. Amenities, turnkey, puffing, or plottage. What do you guys think? That one was too easy. But Candace, let's do the rest of them. Why don't you do turnkey?
So turnkey is a phrase that you would use when something is just ready and you can just go. It's kind of like fast food, but for real estate. Turnkey is if I buy a property and it's able to be rented out, as soon as I buy it, I could just put somebody in it. We say it's turnkey, right? Puffing, we just talked about. It's what you do with Snoop Dogg. Oh, no, wrong class, wrong class. Puffing is when you exaggerate. It's when you exaggerate the features, not lie, but exaggerate. Again, online dating. This is the best view in the whole city. Is it though? We'll say
Outfit
it's
makes my big. No. Right.
and plottage. Plottage is the idea that things are worth more when you put them together than they would be just separately. So if you have a lot of land that is a quarter acre and another lot of land that is a quarter acre, maybe each of them separately are 10,000. But when you put those two quarters together to make a half, maybe the value goes up to 40,000 because it's such a large, unusually large lot. That's that idea of plottage. Putting things together gives you a higher value. An improvement's loss of value due to problems caused by poor design. An improvement's loss of value due to problems caused by poor design. Exterior deterioration, economic obsolescence, functional obsolescence, or physical deterioration. Sanita, you asked what assemblage is. Assemblage is the idea that you're putting those lots together. That's the action of it. All right, I'm getting lots of C's. Lots of C's, lots of C's, lots of C's. Do you know, related to C,
Okay. A clause in a blanket mortgage which gives the property owner the right to pay off a portion of the indebtedness, thereby freeing a portion of his property from the mortgage. Release acceleration clause, open end clause, or subordination. You know what I think of this when it said release clause. Now I didn't even think of it. But yeah, this is release clause. So
it's an example
basically,
of a release clause. Yeah.
they're releasing part of the collateral because I've paid off some of my debt. Releasing part of the collateral because I've paid off some of my debt, and they're letting it free to go.
A term concerning property ownership bordering lakes and oceans. Is it avulsion, accretion, littoral, or riparian? Ooh, lots of C's. Look, C's, because it's C's for carrots. Or cookies. C, C, C. Of course, it's littoral. I think littoral, lakes, and oceans. I think riparians, the R for rivers, flowing bodies of water.
The value normally used by tax assessors for tax purposes: intrinsic value, formal value, assessed value, or appraised value. What do you guys think? That was too easy because they told us tax assessors. But remember, tax assessed value is the value that they use to calculate our taxes. What is a term from your math section that we use to calculate taxes on a property? Property taxes, you guys remember, it starts with an M? Make sure you know how to do this.
On a
math.
national level, some states don't use it, but at a national level, what's that word that starts with an M that you use to talk about taxes?
Millage. Mills. Yep.
Millage.
All right. Mills are how much? 1/1000th of a dollar, right? 1/1000th.
All right. In addition to a will, which modifies the will, in addition to a will, which modifies the will by adding to it, subtracting it from it, or clarifying it. What is the word that's an addition to a will, which modifies the will by adding to it, subtracting from it, or clarifying it? Y'all already know my favorite letter.
I love this.
C for
word.
codicil.
I don't know why. I think this is a great word. Yeah. What about novation? When I'm switching out the new for the old, right? One person for a new person, a contract, one old contract for a new contract, novation, double new. There you go. A process that allows a lender to recover the amount owed on a defaulted loan. Is it S-cheat, foreclosure, writ of execution, or conversion? If you don't pay me, you cannot stay, and I will sue you for. There you go. All right. Good job. Good job.
Allows a property to continue to be used in the same way it has always been, even if it doesn't comply with zoning laws. So it's allowing a property to continue to be used. We just talked about this. Is it a variance? Is it a sheet? Is it downzoning? Or is it the grandfather clause, non-conforming use?
Hmm,
I'm winking. Is it
I always thought
any
downzoning is kind of confusing. You know what I mean?
downzoning?
Like,
Yeah. I think downzoning is usually I think of downzoning thinking of commercial, specifically where, hey, this use could have a commercial retail space where you could have up to, it's like a Walmart. So you could have hundreds of people there at a time. But now we want this use to be something more like a Walgreens, where you still could have a lot of people there, but not nearly as much. You're like downing. Zoning has levels. That's what I always think of when I think of downzoning.
let's say that I say to Jane that I'm buying her house and I'm putting down a $10,000 earnest money deposit, but it's non refundable if I don't close within 30 days. She gets to keep it. Liquidated damages is where I am agreeing in advance that if something goes awry, kind of this is my punishment. This is what I will give you to make it up to you. So liquidated damages have to be agreed on before something goes wrong. Okay. Compensatory damages are more like if somebody sues you and they want to be compensated for the havoc and aggravation they've caused you, right? So, say for example, you've got $7,000 invested in your inspection fees and your U-Haul trucks and all this other stuff to move, and then I back out and you sue me for compensatory damage. You want to be compensated for the money that you wasted because of me.
Very good.